This is for you.
Remember the name.
Sports Talk Zone. Welcome back. I'm Ranaja.
This is Mikhail.
And this is another week of Sports Talk Zone where sports is life. Today's episode is brought to you by Brina Boutique. For all your fitness apparels and gym accessories in all sizes, contact Brina Boutique on Instagram at Brina_Boutique876. Let's start off this week with some football again, Mikhail. Leicester City lost to Tottenham at Spurs 3-2 after going up 2-1. In the 95th minute, they lose the game from there. How did that happen?
I don't know. That was some really late drama because being in the 95th minute leading 2-1, you will basically say the game is done and over. I guess this is why we love the game of football. You do never know. It's not over until the fact that this thing. Was it great offense or poor defense? What would you say it is?
What I would say is the team is a representation of the coach. I think this is, no, seriously, this have to be something with the coach because Brendan Rodgers know how to throw away games and trophies and stuff like that with his team. When you look at when he was with Liverpool literally had their hand on the title and some way, somehow they managed not to win. Few years ago, maybe 2019 to 2020, that season, Leicester City was pretty much top 4. I don't know if you remember this. Everybody was saying Leicester City was cemented already in the top 4. And at the back end of the season, they did not manage to make top 4. They fell out of top 4. They lost games on top of games just rapidly behind each other. Same thing again happened last year. This year in Europa, pretty much the same thing. So there's a trend right here with this coach. The team is like a reflection of him. So what happened here with Leicester don't surprise me. Leicester is just a poorly, I don't want to say coach team, but I guess a poorly coached team when it comes to the last few minutes or when it comes to the moments that really count in football. Because there's no way it should be up 2-1 and lose 3-2 and pretty much the game was about to be over. How is that possible? How is that possible? I would fire him if I was the owner. I'm serious. I can't lose a game like that. That definitely gonna kill the morale in the team.
Yeah, it's not even like say it finished 2-2. You end up
losing 3-2. That is
in
unacceptable.
The 95th minute. Wow.
Unacceptable. You get 5 minutes additional time and the second goal for Spurs scored in the 95th minute and you end up losing that game 3-2. How? You got to fire the coach. I'm sorry, because obviously the team not gonna get better from here. How is the team gonna get better when this is a common trend by the coach? All right, let's move on to Brentford versus Manchester United. Manchester United won 3-1. Ronaldo came off. Well, he was substituted, was fuming, telling the coach that he's a madman, should never ever do that again. How dare you try to replace the GOAT with youths? I am the GOAT, you'd never ever take me off. What do you think about that game and Ronaldo behavior?
Well, let me get first into the game. Well, the first half, was Manchester United. We're saying, here we go again. Wasn't much, was playing, boring. And then in the second half, I realized Ilanga, I think he's 19 years old.
Yeah, I think he's 19.
And he scored on the opener for United. And then I like the way that they played the ball and Greenwood scored. And then they were going well. Rashford scored. So the substitution was made, trying to secure the victory and bring on Harry Maguire. And Ronaldo came off. He didn't like that. I don't know why he didn't understand what the coach was doing because remember, you were just coming off a little niggle, if they call it. And that's why I didn't play the previous game. So the coach just wanted to rest you, to let you know, save you for future games. We don't want to give you the full 90 minutes just coming back from an injury. But as I said, we all saw his reaction. He was very upset. The little prima donna that he is. And as we would have spoken about earlier, saying that, he's in very intimidating presence at the club. And that's why certain things are not done at times. But it was a very impressive performance by United in the second half, I might say. I like the way they played coming out, but then yet again, can't keep a clean sheet. Don't know why. Maguire, come on. It's inevitable. Man United won't keep a clean sheet. I don't know.
He was excellent today. Let I say that. Today was excellent.
But yeah, so nothing to say wow about, but it was a fair performance.
All right. What I will say is that Brentford in the first half get about 4 good chances, never took those opportunities, and it came to bite them back in the butt. The second half, Manchester United came out, played more aggressive, and eventually got the breakthrough with the Eller from Ilanga. And from there on, it was all Manchester United in that second half until they, kind of took their foot off the pedal and gave up that goal to Brentford. But for the most part, they dominated that second half, which gave them the victory. But if Brentford was able to take their chances in the first half, maybe the game would have been totally different. And the fact that they didn't do that, Manchester United won. And congrats to them for that, because they were struggling. They were pretty much struggling. And pertaining to Ronaldo, that was disrespect by the coach. Very disrespectful. There's no way you can take the goat off without a good, solid reason.
Coming from an injury.
He was fine. He played 90 minutes today. He was fine. All right? You don't need to take off the goat, because you know at any moment he can do goat stuff. So he had all right to be upset with the coach. Remember, the coach is only here for until the end of the season, right? I think they want Ronaldo to be around longer than that. So therefore, you don't come in the club and act like you want to disrespect the GOAT. The GOAT don't want to come off, you take somebody else off. It's that simple.
I hear you. The coach is in charge, not Ronaldo.
The GOAT is in charge. That's all I have to say. All right, let's move on to today's game with Southampton and Manchester City. Southampton managed to do the impossible, did something that Chelsea couldn't do, did something that a lot of these big teams in the Premier League couldn't do. They managed to stop Manchester City from winning their 13th game straight. What was your thought?
Well, this was more of just unfortunate for City, because I don't know how they did not win this game. It was just more of unfortunate. But as I said, Southampton holding them off for a draw. They got an early goal, and City
Beautiful
came
goal.
Yes, it was by
Walker
Peters. But as I said, going up early and City going down, they came back. They now know that they have to score 2 goals in order to win this game, or at least 2. And they were attacking, but they could only find 1 goal today. And I guess everybody else around the league was smiling about that, because as I said, slow them down, allow them to lose 2 points.
I was celebrating that draw like I was a Southampton fan. All right. I was celebrating. I wish they won, but I take a draw.
Probably this goes to show the problem that a lot of persons saying City have that out-and-out striker. But I don't think if there was one, and these things only come into play when things don't go as planned. Because when cities are scoring, exactly, nobody's saying, oh, you see, they need a striker, the other striker, this or that. But when things just go as planned, you hear all kind of stuff. But I say just one of those days, it happens, and I'm sure they'll bounce back.
Exactly. What I would say about this game, Southampton played well. They didn't play horrible. They played good enough to get that draw, to be honest. Because in the first half, they were not trying to match City in any way or form. They were just trying to play their game, stick to the game plan that the coach had for them. And it worked out. But in the second half, I don't know what flying into this team head. They were trying to play this like hand-to-hand football with City. You cannot do that. You just cannot do that. And then they started to allow this bunch of opportunity and chance. At one point, I was pretty much saying that it's inevitable that City is going to find the second goal. I don't know how it didn't happen, but I'm grateful it didn't happen. But believe me, I was pretty much almost certain that City was going to score again, because they were under significant pressure. But well done to Southampton. Good draw for them. This give Liverpool hope now to get at City, because if Liverpool win their 2 games in hand and beat City, they can cut the points down to 3 points now. And then from there, it's a title race. If we are not able to do that, if Liverpool is not able to do that, then it's pretty much season over for most of the teams. All right, let's move on to the Carabao Cup. Liverpool will face Chelsea in the final after they defeated Arsenal 2-0 at the Emirates. Did you see that game?
What did I tell you from last week? Didn't I say it? Liverpool have enough firepower to get the job done.
You did call it. You did call it.
And I can't believe you being a Liverpool faithful saying, oh, I don't have that much confidence the way Arsenal is playing right now.
After the way they played at Anfield, it was warranted.
Liverpool, you know, they did what they had to do. 2 goals by Jota. Even though we're saying that the quality of Mo Salah and Mane are missing based on the fact that they are African Cup of Nations and the chances that they got in the first time, if they were there, possibly they would have scored, but they're still able to pull it off. 2-0, good victory for them. Nothing much more to say other than that. The finals will be nice one between Liverpool and Chelsea. Now that one I won't go on record just yet until closer to the time because
this is in form.
That's happening, exactly. So but yeah, looking forward to that final.
Yeah, I would say a good performance by Liverpool. I was expecting a better fight from Arsenal. For the first 15 minutes, they made it a little bit difficult for Liverpool. But after we got the goal, settled down, after that, it was pretty much like schoolboy football. We were schooling them. So absolutely wonderful performance. Jota again just being immense, being great. 2 goals. To me, probably the only outright goal scorer we currently have at the club right now when there is no Salah and no Mane. I don't see Firmino scoring like that. Minamino is a hit and miss at times. But yeah, but credit to Arsenal same way though. Credit to Arsenal same way for actually putting up a fight at Anfield and then coming here and try to do the same. Didn't happen. But I want to say something about Arsenal. I think they are a very indisciplined team. I don't know if it's because the team is young or because they are not well drilled and trained, but they tend to pick up a lot of red cards. I don't know why. It's a bad thing. It's a very indisciplined way to play football, and that can cause you the game. Well, games. It didn't cause you the game against Liverpool, but in other situations it can. I think that actually caused them the game against City. Well, not necessarily. The referees were a part of that. But you see what I'm saying? I think they need to be more disciplined, especially when they are defending. But absolutely beautiful performance by Liverpool. Hoping to see how the finals go. Hoping that we can actually win some silverware this year, even if we are not able to get the Premier League. Yes. All right, let's jump into some cricket now. Let's talk about West Indies losing the 3 games ODI series to Ireland. Talk your talk, bad boy.
Boy. At no point in time should West Indies be losing a series to Ireland. You're going to say Ireland is actually doing quite well and blah, blah, blah. No, this is West Indies. One time the most feared team in world cricket, and we should not be losing to Ireland. It is not acceptable in no shape, way, or form unless we're sending some under 19 to play against the senior teams of other countries. Because I don't know, after that first game we won, second game we lost by the Duckworth-Lewis method, and then I was saying yes, all to play for now, but to me we still did not, I don't know, we don't give it our all. Our heart is not in the cricket. At least for some of the players it is there, but for some it's just business as usual. Just let us go, anything happens. That's how I see them playing the cricket. No little passion behind it, no little, because you can see, for instance, if a team is declining, you can know the approach to the game you're going to have to change. But it's just business as usual for some of the players. They just go and do what they know how to do. There's no much, I don't know. And it was a very poor performance.
Are you trying to say that some of the players are just trying to play to see if they can get IPL contract?
I don't know if that's what's in their intention, but they're just not playing sensible cricket because, as I said, the team crumbling where you play, or your normal play, you need to change. But they just come and do the same thing and just out and move in and they go and they sit and they laugh and they ha 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 ha. It's like, but
so you're basically saying that they have no form of patriotic belief when it comes
they're
to
not
the
play with
cricket.
any heart. No heart. Yeah, so it's lacking. There's nothing really. But I would say there are few highlights throughout the series. Some persons that play very well, hats off to them. You give them their credit. There are Mario Shepard, the Dean Smith, you know. Jason
Shamar
Wola made
Brooks,
a
though. I
little.
guess Shamar
Shamar,
Brooks.
yeah, he made runs as well. But so we can pick out these few highlights, but at the end of the day, Ireland should be our beating stick, just as how we are everybody else beating stick. We need somebody to be our beating stick, but obviously right now we're everybody's beating stick.
Stupid, bro. What I would say about this series is that we have to cut the team a little slack some of the time. Sometimes we can be extremely hard on the team, right? Fairly inexperienced team. Maybe I would say probably 4 very experienced players. I would say Pollard, older, and maybe I can throw Puran in there too. I would basically say we only have like 4 really experienced players, and most of the other players are inexperienced. So I personally will cut the team a bit of slack. And the other reason why I'll cut them some slack also is that I am not expecting West Indies to be this big bad team like it used to be before we were born. Understand? It's a different time period now. We are in a constant rebuilding phase, and team like Ireland are actually getting better. So you got to respect them.
I'm gonna say from about 2000, even though you use the word constant rebuild, but it's from about 2000 when you had the young Sarwan, young Gale, young Wavelheim. West Indies has been rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding, and it's 2022. When will the rebuilding end? You just allude to it. Ireland has been improving. So what happened to West Indies? What has happened? Why can't we rebuild and build on that rebuild? We just keep rebuilding.
I think it comes down to probably the board, too much changing of the board sometimes, and different cricketers coming in and out. There is no real true constant set of players that are playing in the formats. So you have one set here in T20, one set here in ODI, one set here in Test, and then another moment if the board change, you find out that they have a different set of players coming in, and they keep on going like that. So it's like a cycle. But the team is in a rebuilding state. A lot of inexperienced players. Let's cut them some slack and just try to focus as much as we can on the positive parts of the game where they are improving. As you said, there are a couple players that did actually well. The Shamar Brooks, the Odin Smith, the Romario Shepard played their part, and hopefully we can carry these players further on into the program, and probably from there on we'll eventually start beating the better teams.
What I realize with West Indies players, you can know when you have quality. A quality player is normally consistent. For instance, with Ireland, with Matt Bryan, he was consistent throughout each game in the series, and he actually got the player of the series. With West Indian players, you have a player come good today and then he's gone. A next player come good the next game, and that's my problem with them. So you see somebody look spectacular today and you say, wow, he's the future of West Indies. And then he fails 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's how somebody else will perform. You're just not this consistent one player who is Mr. Reliable in the West Indies setup, or set of players.
But I would say Shea Hope is very reliable in ODI. Very. I would say that.
He is our best player. Yeah. There's no consistent setup within the West Indies. Cam are a consistent player. That's why these crop of players is almost, as I said, it's a repeat cycle of somebody come good today and then somebody else tomorrow. There's not Mr. Reliable in this setup.
Let's move on to today's game. West Indies versus England, the first game of the T20 series. West Indies won that game by 9 wickets. What were your impressions on today's performance compared to the performance we had prior?
West Indies won by what?
9 wickets, very comfortably.
I'm astonished. Wow. Especially against who? England?
The number one T20 team in the world.
Exactly, the number one. And West Indies are ranked number 10th. But anyway, give them credit when they perform well. Sending England into bat, and it was like, I don't know, wickets after wickets after wickets after wicket. It was just, England shouldn't even have made as much as they made. They should have reached 103 at the point that West Indies had them for 49 for 7.
Yes.
And it goes to show, like, we're still not able to finish it off, but still they did. You have to give England a bit of credit because they came and they put up little resistance, because it's not like they're going to go down without a little fight. So hats off to them. But West Indies, good performance. Brendan King continues great run of form from the Pakistan series. Hats off to him. So hopefully he will be permanent structure in the T20 setup, and hopefully maybe he can make the transition into the one-day squad. But he's batting very well. Hats off to West Indies, not used to seeing convincing wins like these. We used to seeing convincing defeats, but so hats off to them. So hopefully they'll win this series, and we know England is going to come back. Let's see what happens.
What I'll say about today's performance is it showed that West Indies have the potential to beat the best teams in the world. We just need to play at this level consistently. That is the most important thing. As you say, one day you have one person come good, the next day somebody else coming good. It's not a consistent set of people that you can rely on, and that is what I think we are trying to build now in this team. Because in my opinion, I think Sheldon Cottrell, I said this to you already, should be in our T20 setup. So I was very surprised when they did not bring him to the World Cup. Again, Jason Holder proving himself that he is indeed our best cricketer in the Caribbean, and he was not included in the World Cup until there was an injury. What I also want to say about even today's game, we kind of let it get away from us a bit. We got complacent. We don't have that killer instinct to like, okay, 49 for 7. Let's just wring the knife somewhere in England and just let them suffer. We let them get away and made 103. I think Pollard should have brought back Older a bit earlier than he did. And I think that's where the game kind of get away from us. Should have given him over a bit earlier to see what he was doing, because he was bowling excellent. Yeah, great performance by West Indies though. And I have no doubt in my mind that West Indies will win this series. I promise you. West Indies will win this series.
Trust me, England, you gotta see a different game.
We're beating them again. Promise you.
All right, then. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yes, we'll discuss about West Indies beating England again constantly. All right, let's jump into some basketball now. Is it time for us to include Ja Morant in the MVP conversation?
No.
If you want to include the LeBron James, why not Ja Morant, who has a better record than Mr. LeBron James?
Grizzlies have a better record than Lakers. Ja Morant personally doesn't have better records than LeBron James. So that's a different. Keep on telling what the team does is not what the individual does. And you know I'm gonna go, because what I see people doing is comparing Derrick Rose the year when he won MVP and saying that Ja Morant is putting up similar numbers or even better in some categories like assists and rebounds. But look at what Giannis is doing. Look at what Embiid is doing. Look at what Steph Curry is doing, even though he has been off since he broke the record, but still collectively overall so far for the season. So these are the top 3 players right now, because Durant is actually out due to his injury. So you know that will hinder his MVP. So to put Morant, I don't see him playing better than Steph, Giannis, or Embiid. And you even have players such as Jokic. So I don't think it's time to put him up there.
Interesting, I wasn't making the same argument when we were talking about LeBron James. Very interesting.
Because of the numbers he was putting up. I'm saying the numbers.
Okay, I'll give that one to you. Maybe those players are indeed having a better season than Ja Morant, but I would not sleep on him. He's definitely playing at an MVP level. He's probably the most entertaining person to watch right now in basketball after Steph Curry. I will say
some
that.
persons call him the younger version of what Westbrook used to be when he was flying all over the place. But more efficient and making better decisions.
Will the Grizzlies be a threat to the Suns or the Warriors in the West? Should they be looking over their shoulder?
The Grizzlies are playing well. Look like they're willing to make some noise. I'm not sure if they'll go all the way, but as I said, don't sleep on the Grizzlies as a team overall, with John Morant leading head of that team and based on what he's capable of doing. But I don't see them beating the Warriors or the Suns in a 7-game series if they are to play any of them. But they are playing well, and people don't sleep on them. Trust me, don't sleep on them. People, trust me.
Do you see them beating the Lakers?
Possibly. They have done so. Why not? I wouldn't be surprised. At this point, with this current Lakers, maybe if they change, the Grizzlies, the Lakers can't beat the Grizzlies.
All right, let's talk about the Lakers and the game where they lost to Indiana Pacers after being up 15 points and ending up losing. In that game, Russell Westbrook was benched for the last 4 minutes of the game. There was a statement put out by ESPN where he basically said that he was disappointed or upset with the decision. He was not happy with the fact that he was benched in those final moments. The coach stated that he did what was best for the team to put him in a winning position, even though he lost. But you get what I'm saying?
Well, Lakers blowing another lead. And funny enough, the coach did this at the wrong time because there have been other games where Russell should have been benched, but because of who he is and what they're paying for him, they're not gonna say, oh, you can't take Russ out in the fourth quarter, he has to finish the game, yada 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 yada. And probably those other games, if they have taken him out, they would have won that one. But in this instance, unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. And as I said, Vogel said the reason for making that decision, he thought the 5 that he had on the floor was the best to take the game home, and they lost. But this just goes to show it's not a great fit with Russell Westbrook at the Lakers, no matter what. I told you before, Durant tried, James Harden tried, Chris Paul tried. Nobody can play with Westbrook. He's just going to be a great player, put up some great numbers. I doubt he'll ever have a championship to his name. He's not shooting well. I don't know what's wrong. They just need to get rid of him. They shouldn't have traded for him.
So if they were supposed to trade Russell Westbrook, where would they trade him to?
And that's the thing, because at this point in time, there's no team out there that I see would say, hey, we need him, we want him, he'd be a good fit for us. I'm hearing some talks about the Rockets, but then if you trade him to the Rockets, who are you getting?
They don't want to trade him for John Wall. You would not take John Wall?
Great scorer. It's going to be a similar situation with the ball dominance. You only have one ball. LeBron needs the ball. AD needs the ball. And then John Wall's going to want to hug the ball. So that's one of the problems here with this team.
Are we attributing too much of the blame to Russell Westbrook for the Lakers' issues?
Yes and no. Why? More is expected from him. He is, or has been, I should say, a superstar in the league. Or we know he's capable of doing it. But is he producing that now? No. And the reason for that, when he has been having these type of great seasons, he's the one having the ball, and he's the one. Because, the NBA, it's a rhythm game. So once you have that ball, and you have the more, because even with the Wizard, when Russell Westbrook was there, the season started off slow. But I think Beal got injured, and then he became the man, and he had a lot of pressure, so he was there, and it's like that. And the momentum, they call it the big move, and it was just running. But here, it's like he can't get to do him or be him.
So basically what you're saying to me is that LeBron needs to get injured, AD needs to get injured. AD is already injured. LeBron also needs to get injured, and then let Russell be the man, and then you get the best of him and the Lakers
But will that,
eventually.
but that wouldn't be enough to win the championship. So that's the thing.
No,
The
he
best
will
of
be
him.
in tune with the team when LeBron and AD come back.
No, but that's the thing. They're gonna need back the ball, so he's gonna be like, "What should I do?"
No,
That's
but
basically
when he was playing with the Wizard with Beal and he found his rhythm, they eventually played well together down the stretch.
and now you're gonna have two other players. So it just wasn't a great fit. Trust me, it just wasn't a great fit.
You normally hear they say like, oh, this player and this player can play together, but superstars always figure it out. So I guess this is the anomaly case where it never got figured out.
Because of Russell Westbrook. And it always shown once you have a big three, somebody has to be willing to sacrifice and step back. And
Maybe,
you know Westbrook ain't stepping back.
Maybe AD need to step back since he's the one that gets injured all the time.
And right now he's their so-called savior. Everybody's, let's see what happens when AD gets back.
You think something will change?
I think they'll get some, well, depends on which version of Anthony comes back, because if it's the AD from in the bubble, when he had those mid-range jumpers and he was very efficient, but the AD of last season and earlier this season, nah, much won't change. So we need him to play better as well. So he needs to get some of the blame.
Okay. I have nothing to say about the Lakers. I hope they do as well as they can. And that concluded for another week of Sports Talk Zone. You can check us out on all streaming platforms and also on Instagram at Sports Talk Zone 876.